Unit 5 Memory Management. So, first we will see what is memory management. So, memory management is the process of controlling and coordinating computer memory, assigning partitions known as blocks to various running programs to optimize the overall performance of the system. It is the most important function of an operating system that manages primary memory. It helps the process to move back and forward between the main memory and execution disk. It helps OS to keep track of every memory location irrespective of whether it is allotted to some process or it remains free. So the management of main memory is an important issue in design of operating system. Memory management is primarily concerned with the allocation of memory to a requesting processes. A process cannot run after before a certain amount of memory is allocated to it. In single process system, the main memory is divided into two parts. One part for operating system and second part for the program which is currently being executed. So the memory management is a single process system in travel. In multi-programming environment, multiple programs reside in the memory at any instance of time. Operating system has to accommodate a multiple program in the limited memory. The memory needs to be allocated efficiently to pick as many processes into memory as possible. So the memory management system can be divided into two classes. One is memory management without swapping and second is memory management with swapping and paging. So the swapping involves the moving of processes between main memory and disk during execution. The swapping and paging are necessary as the size of the main memory is never sufficient to fully accommodate all running processes. The memory management schemes are required to satisfy the following requirement. One is relocation, second protection, third sharing, next logical organization, and the next one is physical organization. So, next is why we use the memory management. Memory management allows you to check how much memory needs to be allocated to the processes that decide which processor should get memory at what time. The tracks whenever inventory gets freed or unallocated, according to it will update the status. It allocates the space to application routines. It also makes sure that these applications do not interfere with each other. It helps protect different processes from each other and it places the program in memory so that memory is utilized to its full extent. So, memory management ideally programs want a memory that is large, fast, and non volatile. Memory hierarchy it has a small amount of fast, expensive memory cache. Some medium, that is speed medium, some medium speed, medium price main memory, and gigabytes of slow Chip disk storage. So memory manager handles the memory hierarchy. Now this diagram shows the basic memory management. Monoprogramming without swapping or paging. So there are three simple ways of organizing memory and operating system with one user process. In first diagram, it has a user program and operating system in RAM. In second, it has a user program and operating system in ROM. And the third is operating system RAM, user program and the device drivers in ROM. So this is monoprogramming without swapping or paging. Now what is monoprogramming without swapping or paging? Without swapping means this is the simplest memory management approach. The memory is divided into two sections. One part for the operating system and the second part for user program. So in this approach, operating system keeps the track of the first and the last location available for allocation of user program. The operating system is loaded either at the bottom or at the top. The interrupt vectors are often loaded in low memory. Therefore, it makes a sense to load operating system in low memory. The sharing of data and the code does not make much sense in a single process environment. The operating system can be protected from the user program with the help of fence register. During the execution of program, if the address generated is below the fence, then it can be tracked. So advantage of this type is that it is simple management approach, and disadvantages. First is it does not support multi-programming. Second, there is lower utilization of CPU and memory. The CPU sits idle when a running program requires some input output. And third is memory is wasted. Now, next is multi-programming with fixed partitions. So, memory partitioning scheme with fixed number of partitions was introduced to support a multi-programming. This scheme is based on contiguous allocation. Here each partition is a block of contiguous memory. The memory is partitioned into a fixed number of partitions. Each partition is of fixed size. Each partition can accommodate one program for execution, and the number of programs, that is the degree of multi-programming, is bound by the number of partitions. So memory is partitioned So in this diagram, the memory is partitioned into 5 regions. The one region is reserved for the operating system, and the remaining 4 partitions are for the user program. So partition table means once partitions are defined, the operating system keeps the track of the status, that is whether allocated or free of memory partition, and it is done through a data structure which is called as partition table. Next, logical versus physical address means an address generated by the CPU is commonly referred to as a logical or virtual address. The address seen by the memory unit, that is the address loaded into the memory address register, is known as physical address. So logical address can be mapped to a physical address by the hardware with the help of base register, and this is also known as a dynamic relocation of memory reference. When the process is scheduled, the base register is loaded with the starting address of the partition. The physical address of an instruction stored at an offset is given by the base register contains 200000. Next is the protection and sharing. The protection is necessary in multi-programming. The operating system should be protected from the user processes, and a user process should be protected from other user processes. So a limit register can be used for the protection, and the primary function of the limit register is to detect attempts to access a memory location beyond the boundaries of the partition. When process is scheduled, the limit register is loaded with the size of partition. So each memory access is compared with the limit register. If it exceeds the limit register, no permission is given to the user process to access the memory. Next is the placement algorithm. For the execution of program, it is assigned to a partition. The partition should be large enough to accommodate the program to be executed. After allocation, some memory at the end in the partition may remain unused, and it is known as internal fermentation. So the most common strategies to allocate a free partition to a program are first fit, best fit, and worst fit. First fit means this strategy allocates the first free partition large enough to accommodate the process. Best fit strategy allocates the smallest free partition that can accommodate the process, and the worst fit strategy allocates the largest free partition that can accommodate the process. So all the three strategies have to scan the partition table to find out a free partition. The first fit terminates after finding the first suitable partition, whereas best fit and worst fit continue searching the entire partition table. So there are some disadvantages of fixed partition. There is no single program or the process that may exceed the size of the largest partition in given system. It does not support a dynamic data structure. It limits the degree of multiprogramming, which in turn may reduce the effectiveness of short-term scheduling, and there is a problem of internal fermentation. So these are the disadvantages of fixed partition. Next is multiprogramming with dynamic partitions. So in dynamic partitions, a partition is created dynamically for requesting process compared to fixed partition. In dynamic partition, neither the size nor the number of dynamically allocated partitions can be fixed. The memory manager continues creating and allocating partitions to a requesting process until all physical memory is exhausted. When a process is terminated, the vacated memory space is returned to the pool of free memory areas. The main problem with a fixed size partition is the wastage of memory by the program that are smaller than their partition. This problem is also known as internal fragmentation. With dynamic partitioning, the number and the size partitions vary dynamically. This improves the memory utilization, but it also complicates the process of allocation and deallocation of memory. So in variable partition, the operating system keeps the track of which part of the memory are available and which are allocated. So there are some advantages of dynamic partitioning, that higher utilization of memory. It supports a dynamic memory management and the size of the process can grow during runtime and there is no problem of internal fragmentation. Disadvantages of dynamic partitioning is that dynamic memory management require lots of operating system space, time, complex memory management algorithm, and compaction is needed due to the external fragmentation. It is a time intensive algorithm. Next is swapping. So what is swapping? Swapping is a method in which the process should be swapped temporarily from the main memory to the backing store. It will be later brought back into the memory for continued execution. The backing store is a hard disk or some other secondary storage device that should be big enough in order to accommodate the copies of all memory images for all users. So it is also capable of offering a direct access to these memory images. So the moving process from main memory to the disk and back is called as swapping in simple words. So in a time sharing system, there are normally more processes than there is a memory to sort them. Excess processes are kept on a disk. The more processes are necessary to keep the CPU busy all the time. A process waiting for the completion of input-output activity can be swapped out on a disk, and it can be swapped in at a later time for the execution. So this diagram shows the swapping. It has a users in main memory. It has a user space and operating system, and second part is the secondary storage. So process 2 swap in to the user space, and process 1 swap out into the secondary storage. So a process can be swapped temporarily out of the memory to a backing store and then brought back into the memory for continued execution. Backing store means fast disk large enough to accommodate the copies of all memory images for all users, and it must provide a direct access to these memory images. Rollout or roll-in means swapping variant used for the priority based scheduling algorithm, and lower priority process is swapped out so higher priority process can be loaded and executed. The major part of the swap time is transfer time. Total transfer time is directly proportional to the amount of memory swapped. So the modified version of swapping are found on many systems, that is Unix, Linux and Windows. So the next is benefits of swapping. Here are the major benefits or the pros of the swapping. It offers a higher degree of multiprogramming. Next benefit is it allows a dynamic relocation. For example, if address binding at the execution time is being used, then the process can be swapped in different location. Else, in case of compile and load time bindings, the processes should be moved to the same location. Also, it helps to get a better utilization of the memory. And the next benefit is it minimizes the wastage of CPU time on the completion, so it can be easily applied to a priority based scheduling method to improve its performance. So this diagram shows the swapping. Here is the memory allocation changes as the processes come into memory and the leave memory, and the shaded region here shows the unused memory. So in all diagram, the bottom part is the operating system. In first diagram, the shaded region, that is unused memory, is more, and in the last diagram the unused memory, that is the shaded region, is very less. So allocating space for growing the data segment and allocating space for growing stack and data segment, the diagram for this The swapping is shown here. The next part is memory allocation. The memory allocation is a process by which computer programs are assigned a memory or the space. So here main memory is divided into two types of partition, low memory and high memory. Low memory means operating system resides in this type of memory, and high memory means user processes are held in high memory. Next is paging. So paging is a storage mechanism that allows operating system to retrieve a process from secondary storage into main memory in the form of pages. In the paging method, the main memory is divided into small fixed size blocks of physical memory, which is called frame. The size of the frame should be kept the same as that of the page to have a maximum utilization of main memory and to avoid external fragmentation. Paging is used for the faster access to data and it is logical concept. So paging is a memory management technique that permits a program's memory to non-contiguous into physical memory. This allows a program to be allocated a physical memory whenever it is possible. So the physical memory is conceptually divided into a number of fixed size blocks called frames. The virtual address space or the logical memory of the process is also broken into the blocks of the same size called pages. So before running a program, its pages are loaded from the disk into the frames. Now the next is page table. So the page table is the data structure which is used by a virtual memory system in a computer operating system to store the mapping between the virtual address and physical address. The entire page table may take up too much main memory. The page tables are also stored in virtual memory. When process is running, part of its page table is in main memory. So page table is required for mapping a page, that is process address domain, to a page frame in main memory. The page table stores the mapping information. So there are some advantages of paging system. First advantage is it does not require contiguous memory allocation as in case of partitioning. There is a no need for the compaction. It supports high degree of multiplicity of multiprogramming. The virtual memory management is well supported by paging system. Both sharing and protection are easy to implement in paging system. The paging system increases the memory utilization and hence the overall system utilization. Next is page size. Smaller the page size, less amount of internal fragmentation. Smaller the page size, more pages required per process. More pages per process means large page tables, and the large page tables means large portion of the page table in virtual memory. Next is the page fault. So page fault is a type of exception raised by a computer hardware when running program access a memory page that is not currently mapped by memory management unit, that is MMU, into a virtual address space of a process, or we can say miss in the page table. It's called a page fault. So when the valid bit is not sent to 1, then the page must be brought in from the disk and possibly replacing another page in the memory. So the paging and address translation. The mechanism for reading a word from the memory involves the translation of virtual address to a physical address. The concept of paging can be used to do the translation. The virtual address space of a program is divided into fixed length unit called pages. Each page consists of blocks of the words that occupy contiguous locations in the main memory. Each page is mapped to a fixed location in main memory called page frame. The page table stores the mapping information, and the address generated by the processor to fetch a word memory can be divided into two parts, that is virtual page number and the offset. So high order bits are interpreted as a virtual page number, and these bits can be used to fetch the corresponding page frame number from the page map table. Low order bits of the address give the offset, and it specifies a particular byte within a page. When particular process is running, a register holds the starting address of the page table for that process, and this register is also known as a page table base register. By adding the virtual page number to the contents of page table base register, the address of corresponding entry in this table is obtained. So each entry in the page table includes some control bits that describe status of the page, validity of the page, and whether the page has been modified. Next, is partition allocation. Memory is divided into different blocks or the partitions. Each process is allocated according to the requirement. The partition allocation is an ideal method to avoid internal fragmentation. So there are some various partition allocation schemes. The one is first fit, best fit, worst fit, and next fit. We have already seen it. So first fit, in this type the partition is allocated which is the first sufficient block from the beginning of the main memory. Second is best fit, that is it allows the process to the partition, that is the first smallest partition among the free partitions, and worst fit means it allocate the process to the partition which is the largest sufficient freely available partition in the main memory. And the next fit, it is mostly similar to the first fit, but this fit searches for the first sufficient partition from the last allocation point. Now, what is fragmentation? The processes are stored and removed from the memory, which create a free memory space, which are too small to use by other process. So after some time, the processor not able to allocate to the memory blocks because its small size, and the memory blocks always remain unused, is called fragmentation. This type of problem happens during a dynamic memory allocation system when free blocks are quite small, so it is not able to fulfill any request. Next is demand paging. It brings a page into memory only when it is needed. So less input output needed, less memory needed, faster response and more users. And the page is needed, then it is to the reference to bit. Invalid reference is aborted and not in memory is bring to the memory. So this diagram shows the demand paging transfer of the page memory to the continuous disk spaces. So in demand paging, the paging system must be multi-programmed very effective. The paging system made multi-programming very effective. The fetch policy determines when a page should be brought into the main memory. There are two common alternatives, demand paging and pre-paging. Demand paging simply means that each page of process is brought in only when it is needed. When process is first started, then there will be many page faults. As more and more pages are brought in, the principle of locality suggests that most future reference will be to pages that have recently been brought in. So after a time, the number of page faults should drop to a very low level. Now the implementation of demand paging. To implement the demand paging, operating system keeps a track of which pages are in memory. The page map table contains an entry bit for each virtual page of the related process, and for each page in memory, the page map table points to the actual location that contains the corresponding page frame, and entry bit is set and marked as a yes. If particular page is not in the memory, then the corresponding bit is reset and marked as a no. If the program tries to access a page that is not in memory, then page fault interrupt occur. In response to page fault, operating system brings in the page in demand from the secondary storage, and the sequence for the steps in handling of the page fault consists of: if process refer to a page which is not in the physical memory, then an internal table kept with a process control block which is checked to verify whether a memory reference to a page was valid or invalid. If the memory reference to a page is valid but the page is not in the main memory, then the process of page transfer starts. The free memory location is identified to bring the missing page. The required page is brought back into the free memory location. Once the page is in physical memory, the internal table kept with the process and the page table is updated to indicate the page is now in memory, and then restart the instruction that was interrupted due to the missing page. So the advantages of this demand paging is, with demand paging it is not necessary to load and enter entire process into main memory. It is possible for a process to be larger than the physical size of the main memory. With demand paging, only a few pages of any process are in memory, and therefore more process can be maintained in memory, and there is a time saving because unused pages are not swapped in and out of the memory. So these are the advantages of demand paging. Thank you.